So the work I've been doing has been part of a much larger project with the revitalization of the LA River. So this is a piece of a bigger puzzle. This other pieces include the Arbor Study, which is led by the Army Corps of Engineers, in which the city is a partner to revitalize the river from Griffith Park extending all the way to downtown. And what that means really is to change the way the river looks now. Right now it's currently embedded in a concrete straitjacket, but this is really taking that concept and flipping it on the head and restoring the river to its natural habitat. It's about looking at problems that the city has and seeing how the river can fit as a solution. This is a game changer for LA. This is the opportunity for LA to shine, to provide a green space, a linear park throughout the entire city that will be there for my children, my children's children.
Nobody thinks a lot about the sidewalk. And I don't really like to go around being like, oh, you know, this amazing job. But I feel like sidewalk is very much a fundamental necessity that we have. And nobody really notices it unless, you know, you're tripping over it. And I feel like really proud that whenever I drive by, I'm like, oh, you know, that sidewalk looks good.
The 6th Street Viaduct is a $440 million undertaking by the Bureau of Engineering, which is actually the largest infrastructure project that the Bureau has undertaken ever. And the reason why the bridge needed to come down was because it was afflicted by something called alkali silica reaction. So what this means is kind of like concrete cancer. The concrete is eating itself up from the inside. You know, there was a decade worth of studies done to see if the bridge could be retrofitted and saved. But at the end of the day, it was found that that wasn't possible and that the bridge had to come down. And so both the city officials, leadership at the Bureau thought, what better way to honor the impact of this bridge than to replace it with something that's even more iconic. The original viaduct has its symbolic 2 arches. That was the dividing line between the eastern Boyle Heights and basically the rest of LA. The new design wanted to take that and expand on it, to connect everything seamlessly through a ribbon of arches, to pay homage to the original design, but also kind of build on it. I grew up in the city and I've seen this project in movies, I've driven on this bridge. It's one of those projects that you get to talk about 20 years down the line and say, I worked on this project.
My experience with the Bureau of Engineering has been really great. The one thing that reeled me in obviously was the rotation program and being able to be exposed to a lot of different fields within civil engineering. I didn't know too much about construction management coming in, and to be here and be a part of all of this really sort of opened my eyes, and you find out that you like things you thought you might have not have. It's nice to sort of branch out and see the whole picture, and I think the Bureau's a great part of the city that I would definitely recommend because of what it is that goes on here.
When I was in school, I really wanted to be a designer. I was stuck on designing these high-rises, you know, being famous and making a name for myself. And I got this awesome opportunity to work in construction, and I took it, and I ended up loving it. And when I was able to have the opportunity for the city, I was able to talk to somebody. They told me about this great rotation program where you can do construction, you can do design, you can work with people at the public counter. I thought that was great. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to experience all different types of jobs?
I graduated from UCLA and I came to the Bureau of Engineering, and I was put on the spot to work on this big $21 million North Spring Street Bridge project. And as a construction manager, they had me go out, check to see if the plans are okay. During the CIDH process, we hit oil. We have politicians calling us, but what it was in an engineering challenge is that oil softens the pile so the foundation gets weaker. So what we had to do is work with a lot of people, the designers, even the politicians as well, and everyone got together to make sure that engineeringly the bridge was safe and sound and that the workers around the oil were safe as well.
The Lacretz Innovation Campus is located in the Arts District in downtown Los Angeles. This is a full functioning office, laboratory, meeting center, and demonstration lab. This was a $30 million project. Me and my boss essentially oversaw the entire thing. He let me have a lot of say in the day-to-day activities, and so that responsibility, while it was weighed on me, I learned a lot from it. The experience that you get from being able to run a project versus just sitting in the background, you can't compare to that.
Right now we're at the Hyperion treatment plant. We're located right next to LAX and right next to the beach. When the wastewater throughout the city of LA comes to Hyperion, it gets treated and some of it gets reused, some of it gets disposed of. Just as a resident, you never notice the waste and you're just like, it goes away. But now to see the whole process and what happens to it, and it's been just really interesting. I love working at the city of LA because not only is it rewarding, it's challenging. My coworkers, my supervisors, they're all great. It's a positive working environment. They're encouraging, they're helpful, and it just helps me in all aspects of my career.
When I first started with the Bureau, I was tasked with this project. At that time, it was just an abandoned pool, and I was construction manager, and seeing and learning how to execute a contract as far as the demolition of the pool. And then after that was completed, we went into the construction, which is what we have here now. We have a fabulous, great pool that we put together, and it comes complete with these new play features. There's something called like a rooster tail where it kind of splashes water like this, and you know, since there's gonna be so many kids in this neighborhood, they're gonna absolutely love playing with these new play features. It's been such a privilege to work on these pools because if I'm involved with the community, you know, I've been exposed to so much, I'm learning so much. I'm really happy that I chose to work for the Bureau of Engineering.
My role as council liaison is to act as the point person between engineering and the city council. What I like about this position is that I'm really able to get to know the entire city. Ever since I was in high school, I really wanted to know, how does an entire city work? How does it get built? How am I, as an engineer, going to impact the city, and where am I in this big picture? How can we better run our bureau? How can I, in the future, be a better engineer?
Our main client has been the Department of Rec and Parks, and they came to us saying we need a grand entry to this park. The park is open on all edges, it's permeable, but they really want to create a new face, a new entry that says this is the entry to MacArthur Park. And so it's great to see that this park, which has so many layers of history, and it really tells the story of Los Angeles. Now we come here and we're adding our own layer to our time and our era and our demographic and our culture. Los Angeles is a relatively young city, and so being in the Public Works Department, you're doing work that's changing the face of Los Angeles.
The great thing that I love about the Bureau is that they want to train us. They want to make us great. They want to make us well-rounded. So we have a rotation program where we get to learn construction, learn design, learn plan checking, the permit process. We get to learn all that. We get to interact with the people. It's really interesting that I grew up as a lifelong swimmer. It was what I loved. And then as soon as I was finished, I learned civil engineering, I learned environmental engineering, and I studied water. I took a hydraulics class in college, and it was just, this is what I meant to do. Now I get to design this, and I get to use flow calculations, and I get to design sewers, and it's pretty awesome.
The Echo Park Boathouse was built in the 1930s, and over the years did not receive the rehabilitations that it needed. The city and the council office and Bureau of Engineering combined our efforts to come up with a plan to rehab the project in 2 phases. This project is important because the building itself is a landmark for the Echo Park. Over the years, its disrepair began to bring down the overall image of Echo Park itself. It was clear that we needed to have a vision to bring the Echo Park Boathouse back to fruition.
Well, this is my first year in the Bureau in the Development Services Division. We work with private development. Whenever private development encroaches or takes place in the public right-of-way, that's where we step in. I wanted to come to the city because I lived in the city and I like doing projects and work that would benefit a lot of people. And it's exciting to see how the city's changing firsthand because you have a hand in it, and you get to do it in a way that you've honed yourself to do through engineering, through math and science, and through design. It's not what you'd expect, but it's exactly what you would love doing.
Hi, I'm Gary Lee Moore, City Engineer. The Bureau of Engineering is transforming the city of Los Angeles into the world's most livable city. Please join us.